waterfront. So I'm sure if it's facing the waterfront, it costs $1 million or more. You over in about 50 minutes of ferry. It gets a bit crowded, especially on weekends. I don't recommend it on the weekends. On the weekends, I recommend the optimal way of getting there, and that is the water taxi. Water taxi gets you there in about 5 to 7 minutes, way speedier, and a lot more intimate, not as many people. Usually, the taxi drivers also play some nice tunes on the way over. These L-shaped buildings that we're currently approaching were some of the first built here on the waterfront in the 1970s, when Toronto was trying to revitalize the city. They were trying to deviate from being known as a shipping port city. They were trying to push all our factories and put them in Hamilton, Ontario, which they did. Right-hand side with the brown building is the Toronto Star building. The Toronto Star is Canada's most widely read newspaper, and some pretty significant figures have actually worked at this company. Joe Shuster, the creator of Superman, worked here as a paperboy in the 1920s. It is said that he models Metropolis, which is where Superman works, or where Superman is set, after the Toronto as well. So it's pretty cool. That ferry currently to do it, but if you guys were to visit the Toronto CN Tower, you would still see the same piano. That's because when they were asked to move it back down, they refused to do so. I guess they weren't that good. The most significant record, however, was set by a man named Brendan Kenoy. He set the record for fastest time getting to the very top of the CN Tower. And I want you guys to take a guess from me as to what you think the fastest. take some more pictures, and I'll hop on and make very promptly once again. Oh, and the plane is also landing, or at least attempting to land at least. We'll see if he makes it. He made it. Woo! And completely family friendly. My favorite one being Ward's Island Beach over on Ward's Island, which is the farthest most east. They also have an amusement park called Centerville that has so many fun rides for the entire family. They have a log ride, a Ferris wheel ride, carousel ride, and Centerville even has a petting zoo, faraway farms, with different animals like pigs, horses, ponies, donkeys, llamas, peacocks. They have it really all. They have a great assortment of animals. So, be nice to them, seduce them, marry them, and there you go. You have an island property. Probably a bit easier than waiting on the waiting list. But there is actually a lie. There is another way you can live on the islands, and that is over here on the right hand side at the Toronto Island Marina. So through the months of May to November, you can bring in your boat here at the Toronto Island Marina and live on it. That's exactly what these people do over here, and they're not rushing it whatsoever. They have water, electricity, Wi-Fi. They even have a water slide, some of them. One in the back has a water slide. I'm very jealous of their way of life. However, these boats can only stay here through the months of May to November because during the winter time, the harbor freezes over. So what they do is that they use that machine on the right-hand side, the marine travel lift, to lift the boats out of the water. Once they're out, they cover them in a white film that winterizes them. You can see some of the boats still have this white film surrounding them. For the larger vessels that can't be marine travel lifted out, what they do is that they put the way about raccoons, however, you know they've never seen a goose egg in their lives. The only thing they like to consume is garbage. So what these critters do is they walk around the island and eat the garbage that the locals and tourists have left behind. So now on the island we have a goose problem and a raccoon problem. The foul stench, which I think maybe some of you smelled as you were taking pictures as well. Definitely not some of my favorite birds, but speaking of birds, there's over 200 species on the islands. We have yellow warblers, American robins, cardinals, blue jays, orioles, the mute swans, which you guys saw, the Canada goose, these birds, the Canada geese.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Oh, okay. Hi, Duck.
And they're and they're nasty bird. Like they're not.
That's what you say.
They're so nasty. They take over. They do.
Yeah. It's like one of those guys you can see outside your t-shirt or something.
On the left-hand side, our lovely captain just set us up for a very beautiful view of the Toronto skyline, one of my favorites of the entire tour. So we're going to go real slow, put some music on in the background, and allow you guys to take some pictures. Feel free to walk around the boat, don't feel like you have to remain glued to your seats. Just remember, stay on the boat, that's right. And then rather than we go... Thank you. Back to whiskey, however, there was actually 40,000 whiskers administered. Which seems like a lot, but it's even more when you consider that the population of Toronto at the time was 50,000. So people were really going on about to get those sticks of whiskey. I'm sure I certainly would have at the time. This entertainment. Prohibition, that's right. So Canada still have prohibition. But we are a bit more lax on the rules, we have some loopholes. We will have to keep beer, so we are a very large exporter of it. Because the workers that brewed the beer, they went out. So we have now entered the island. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see Munns Island, and to the right-hand side, you'll see Hanlan's Point. Hanlan's Point was named after the Hanlan family that first settled here in 1862. And during their time here, they were quite entrepreneurial. They really developed aerial ace. This would be considered an aerial ace since you should have up 3 enemy planes. Being shot down 72. Quite offensive, and plus I guess this is why they named the airport after it. He's a pretty prolific Canadian figure. The only pilot to crest him in the score was the Red Baron, a German pilot. He shot down 83, I believe. Kiss in the film. Aww, so romantic. Right next to that we have the Amsterdam Brew House. The Amsterdam Brew House was not a gift from the city of Amsterdam. But it is a very popular restaurant. It was actually rated the top restaurant in the harbor 6 years in a row. It has a microbrewery that brews about 13 different types of beer. I'm not much of a beer drinker myself, but I do enjoy the blonde on a hot day. If you guys are planning on making reservations at the Amsterdam Brew House, however, I don't recommend you try all 13 of the brews in one sitting. Or you may end up in a spot right next door with the green roof, the police. That is actually a Toronto Marine Police unit. They don't focus on that kind of criminal activity. They focus more on the going-ons of the harbor. And we're really lucky to have them here because Canada actually has the longest discontinuous coastline. This means that the nearest Coast Guard station is located 3 hours drive away in Prescott, Ontario. You can imagine if we were to go right on the harbor and we didn't have the Scotland municipality helping us out, it would not be very good for us. We can't talk about Toronto without talking about its most iconic landmark, the CN Tower. But I'll talk a little bit more about it later on in the tour where you can actually see the entire structure very clearly, not just the base of it. Its next door neighbor is also pretty significant as well, the Rogers Centre. But the Rogers Centre used to have a different name. Does anyone remember what it used to be called? That's right, Sky Dome. Sky Dome is a much more fitting name in my opinion. I mean, it is a dome that opens up to the sky. And when it first opened in 1989, it was actually the world's first fully retractable roof stadium. A couple of years prior, the city of Montreal attempted to do the same thing, but the roof stadium opened one time and it never closed again. It takes about 20 minutes to fully open and $20 of electricity, and it is also the home of the Toronto Blue Jays, the Major League Baseball team here in Canada. So you guys are probably thinking to yourselves, well, clearly the largest event that's ever been held there is a Blue Jays game. You'd be mistaken, however. Back in 2002, 67,000 people gathered at the Rogers Centre a power plant. So a power plant used to be a power plant. It is now a contemporary art gallery. It is actually free to the public. But in my opinion, one of the coolest features about the power plant is that it actually has the best air conditioning and the cleanest washrooms of the entire harbor. So if you guys are ever in the area, that's the place to be. Right next to that we have the Harbor Fun Center. The Harbor Fun Center used to be a trucking warehouse, but it is now an event venue space. They bring in a lot of artisans like glassblowers and jewelry makers to perform their crafts, which is very cool to witness. And at the very front, there's also a man-made pond that we fill up with water in the wintertime. It freezes over and becomes a very popular ski ring for locals and tourists alike. The Harbor Fun Center stage is also part of the Harbor Fun Center. And on table nights during the week, they host performances here. Band performances, concerts, magic shows, a whole assortment of entertainment. I don't know if you're doing anything this evening, but last night they were actually doing a ballet performance here. The best part about the whole stage is that these performances and this entertainment they